would talk with Singularity, and the micros were playing retardedly, dropping terms one at a time and doing general IQ level politicking. If that's the case, I don't understand why. I'm just gonna give my opinion here tonight and screw the consequences. I don't understand why Sale would have allowed that if they were informed and they knew that was happening. Why you would know that that's being done, knowing that that's going to draw drama and allow that to happen? Um, that seems silly. I would have gone and told the micro groups, just me personally, listen, y'all can't do that. Give them a list, give them a simple list because y'all would be dead if we hadn't intervened. You got lucky, not to focus too much on me, but House Stark didn't get lucky. Y'all got lucky. You don't have to take an L here. Simplify the terms, drop them, and get out now. Or we're going to do peace talks and you can get rolled by Singularity afterwards. That's my perspective. Maybe what Sale has a different stuff going on. I could understand that they'd probably want World Task Force, for example, to piece out ahead of time, since World Task Force has a direct M and a direct O with members of Sale. But not sure what went on there. So I can come back to you in a minute, Nokia. So that was happening, and I guess nobody did anything about it. Nothing happened. So the the declarations of war tonight. Rose Sphere, which at the time was not grumpy and the fighting pacifists as well. Rose Sphere was previously comprised of Oblivion, Guardian, and Arkham Asylum. That group blitzed Sale tonight. Don't remember the time, but it was just a couple hours ago. And then Odoo also blitzed Sale. This, yeah, I understand that Singularity and Co. are going to be making fun of Sale because, they're being rescued. They're allowed to. They're allowed to poke fun at the people they've been at war with. That happens. And it is a bit of an L for Sale in that aspect. But this is unequivocally excessive. Odoo alone is even with, if not better tiered than Sale. So Odoo and Sale in a 1v1 is probably going to come down to whoever blitzes, if the tiering is still how I remember it being. Odoo blitzing Sale alone would have provided a semi-competitive war, and then Singularity and Co. would have recovered because Singularity's been building up mill recently, and eventually Sale would have lost. That happens, but that's kind of an understandable war. Would have been the same thing if Rose Sphere had intervened individually. For both of them to intervene simultaneously, that's a fairly that I hate to throw around the word because it's incredibly overused, but that does come fairly close to a dog pile if you don't think it crosses the line. I think most people think that crosses the line, but if you don't, you're about on the line. You're really, really close. You're giving it a sniff, okay? So the the argument here then has gotten into the CBs. And again, I promise I'm going to come back to Nokia to deal with this micro stuff because I find that personally interesting, but I want to cover through the actual crap of interest ahead of time. So it is a dog pile. So the CBs, I am not going to read Rose's declaration of war aloud because to do that would give everybody listening an aneurysm. and I do not want to pay those hospital bills. You can look at the forum post. It's been reposted in the Balkans. What Rose did is they took a prior syndicate declaration of war against, I believe, against Rose. I believe this is actually the declaration of war singularity, or not singularity, syndicate issued against Rose during Odu versus Fortuna. So that was 3-4 months ago. And they just began crossing things out and replacing it. So the summary is Rose declares war on the syndicate and Sale for, quote, backroom dealings and hegemonic sphere creation. So I think the general CB here is more leaning towards the fact that Singularity was part of the war against Rose back 3-4 months ago. But if that was the sole thing they wanted to convey, leaving in hegemonic sphere creation and backroom dealing wouldn't make sense. They would have written their own declaration of war and just done something simple like what TKR did, calling Aurora's CB invalid. So the interesting part here is, as has been elaborated, there have been a number of backroom dealings going on to hit Odu, of which Rose was part of said backroom dealing. Allegedly, Sale was spoken to, Singularity was spoken to. I'm sure many people were spoken to. So the irony here is that Rose is attacking Sale for something that they were taking part in themselves and actually attempting to bring Sale into. Hegemonic sphere creation. Sale has recently become one of the stronger spheres, I think about on par with Odu. That largely happened after TFP left. Well, hegemonic sphere creation, that's a stretch. But in general, I think it's easier to look at this as the lens of through the lens of a war as a revenge against Syndicate for fighting Florida in Odu, in that Odu Florida war 3-4 months ago. So, given that, let's look at Odu's declaration of war. And I will again drop the link in the Balkans for you. Here we go. So, very simply, their declaration of war is focused on Aurora, stating that the CB was illegitimate. Well, what CB are we talking about? Well, if you click the link, it takes you to Midgard's declaration of war on Withheld. Now, for those of you unaware of what happened here, Midgard declared war on Withheld. At this time, Cataclysm was signed with Paradise and Syndicate to form Wayward. Cataclysm joined in defense of Withheld without any treaty obligation to do so, and Eclipse joined in on the side of Midgard, hitting Cataclysm and TKR, again without any incentive or anything, any treaty obligation to do so. The hostile actions of Carthago, which were the CB of Midgard for the declaration of war on Withheld, the hostile actions were Spirings, harboring troublemaker members, specifically Spanky, hiring pirates, 2IC doing spy attacks, ghosting. So a fun list of different things. TKR is basically having a revenge war. Nobody begrudges anybody a revenge war. The only interesting part here is that it's coming about a year and 3 months after that war was declared. I, you know, fair game is fair game. I understand that we we got to make something up for politics, but that I don't know. Stratos is your BK, your FA for BK. Maybe if you want to elaborate any on that, you're welcome to come on. You're welcome to put something in the Balkans if you feel there's something to elaborate. I think that's one of the longest times I've seen a CB last. Somebody may be able to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure there are smaller. My bad. Then you're fine. You don't have to pick up anything here, mate. You're good. I'm sure there are smaller grudge matches that have happened, but yes, Sword Coast has watched all of their protectors get rolled. It's very very funny. But to the point here, I this is an insanely old grudge match. Thermonia, if you don't like the tiering chart, make a better one. That tiering chart that I'm gonna go ahead and fully disclaim that is probably entirely inaccurate. I ripped it off of full admission here, ripped it off of a DNN tiering chart, but DNN is completely outdated on their tiering charts. Monty, you keep spamming, you're gonna get timed out. Their tiering chart is very outdated. I'm sure some of their ties and sphere allocations are very outdated, even going back to a couple days ago. And prots are all included in that. So for those wondering what the tiering kind of shows, Odoo has an advantage 1 through 12. Whelp has an advantage 13 through about 20. Flips back to Odoo 21 to 23. It gets pretty contested actually, 24 and up. And then Odoo just kills in 50 plus. Odoo is the entire kind of enemy coalition of Sail Whelp. So that's Odoo, that's Rose Sphere, that's Singularity, Cypher, everybody. Whelp is Sail, Carthago, KT, Whelp, all of them. But the other valid points here that so Thermonia has a better one that he's posted, which generally shows a fairly contested in the upper tiers. So 34 plus is somewhat contested, although still leans pretty heavily Odoo, Rose, Singularity. Um, it's not the most wild of dog piles, although when you factor in that, Whelp can't. I don't know. Can somebody confirm for me whether Whelp is fighting? Like, I know Eclipse and Singularity obviously aren't fighting, but is Legion of Dawn hitting Cypher? Only Rose. Thank you, Tartarus. Whelp is only fighting Rose, which puts Singularity against Odoo, Rose, and or which puts Sail against Odoo, Rose, and Singularity. Depending upon how coalitions break out, I'd expect to see Whelp handle Rose Sphere a little more heavily, and Sail focus more on Odoo and Singularity. But we will see. Singularity has attacked Weebinism and Legion of Dawn. So, do we know if Cypher or TGH or Camelot have done the same? So, I'm going to make an assumption that may not be correct and assume that other of Singularity's allies will do the same. And so you'll have Whelp minus Eclipse fighting Singularity and Co. Although Eclipse might start countering if anybody else hits Weebinism and Legion of Dawn. So it might be only Singularity hits Weebinism and Legion of Dawn. But generally it's going to be Sail focusing on Singularity Odoo and Whelp focusing on Rose and Co. The other interesting point I will bring up before I kind of open this to community to, what did I miss? What do you want to hear more about? Um, there has been a bit of discussion about the potential breaking of a nap. When Welp and Odoo fought and signed a 6-month nap. The nap was a global nap between every single one of these participants. So TFP and Eclipse are also napped. Eclipse has evidently a chaining O level with KT. Rose Sphere hit KT. TFP, I believe, only signed after the war began. Yes, that would be correct. So after Rose Sphere blitzed, TFP signed into that. Eclipse 2 hours later blitzes Rose Sphere with the rest of Welp in defense of KT. TFP has begun sending wars against Eclipse. So the question that has come up is what's is this a violation of the NAP? And the argument here gets very, very complex because TFP argued they're honoring their M level, and M levels trump NAP. That's the argument being made. But the other argument being made is that the NAP existed between Eclipse and TFP. Eclipse hit Rose Sphere in retaliation for an aggressive action. So the argument being made is TFP would not be honoring the MDP part of the mutual defense and optional aggression pact. They'd be engaging in optional aggression. If this was an MDMAP, mutual defense, mutual aggression, TFP would be fully justified in following with their allies. But because it's an MDOAP, the argument goes that TFP they're not defending, they're engaging in aggression, and so are violating the NAP. Where that conversation is going to go, I don't know. I find that stuff very interesting because it's going to matter a good bit here. I mean, theoretically, Eclipse could enter against Odoo on the same reason. They could argue that Odoo violated, they hit KT, and so their O level trumps the NAP, and they could go and hit TKR. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm gonna put out kind of a question here. Was there something I missed, didn't cover? Food is at 280 PPU on the market right now. This is probably the most atrocious I've ever seen. It's just retarded. Um, did I miss something? No, Nightmare or Dream by your accurate name. Dark Brotherhood is not fighting. The only person they are fighting is Cypher. They are not fighting any other group. They did not get hit by Odoo. They did not get hit by Florida. Well, Rose Sphere. So Dark Brotherhood is only maintaining their war against Cypher, from my understanding, as their ally. So, anything else? Did I miss something? Or can I pop on the micros to get into a little more information on how this kind of exploded as far as it went? Did I miss something? Did I not explain something properly? Is there something you want to hear more about? I'll take anything. Overall, I think it's an interesting conflict given that Odoo is on the side of people that were plotting to fight them. So what's really going to be curious is whether everybody actually rebuild. Maybe that's a treaty term. Is everybody going to agree to rebuild and just nap for a while? Is there going to be no nap? Are people going to start chaining into different conflicts? I don't know. I think it'll be very fun to see, though. When did when did the Whelp War against Odoo end? That was Global War 29. Okay, so they met ROI barely. Rose's CB, I believe, dream is primarily against the Syndicate for being part of Oju in Global War 28 when they hit Rose Singularity, Florida. That and backroom dealings and hegemonic sphere creation, but I take that with an incredible grain of salt. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and tag on Nokia to figure out a little bit more about what went on the micro aspect of peace talks with Singularity. Nokia, man, you're gonna have to raise your hand. I'm completely blind. There we go. You've been invited to speak.
Yo, what's up, man?
How are you
How's
doing?
I'm doing all right. It's a good evening. Got back from the mall like 2 hours ago, so just settling in.
It's a good thing to settle into, huh? Very interesting thing.
Yeah. I
So,
got home and the very first thing I get told in my HiGov chat is, "Hey, there's a whole world that's getting bigger."
yes, it's everything has exploded. So let's go ahead and get into this. Am I correct in my statement that Singularity and Co. were directed to peace with the micro coalition, which is what I'm going to be referring to you guys by? They were directed to peace with you guys first to then go ahead and peace with Sale after that happened.
I think we're calling ourselves the Neo Coalition just to start that off. And yeah, I think that's well known. Sale was kind of helping, and it's because they're well kind of allied to WTF and so forth. So
Okay, so um let's I guess go ahead and get into this. What so from what I've seen, the accusation is that um you guys were dropping terms one by one in an IQ format. What
um, that's
I've
not
also
exactly.
seen, well, the other thing I'll bring up here is that at least one of the proposed terms was a 3,000 word essay. So I guess address the order and how terms were being dropped first, and then address the validity of the 3,000 word essay term second.
All right, to start with, we informed the other coalition essentially that we have a peace server that's been set up for a negotiation. So we invited everyone to go talk there. They have been waiting. Instead, they keep DMing random members of our alliances. So they DM George, who's their main point of contact. And George was discussing each term one at a time to see if they would agree with it, which I don't know. I think that's fine. George used to be in IQ, so I think that's a little ironic. But nah, I think it's a matter of they're trying to go around and beat around the bush to see in every other embassy if they can get people to peace out separately, and that's just not working. So they're just upset.
So let's talk about the 3,000 word essay. Was that a valid term to your knowledge?
Yeah, that was from WTF.
And was that this is George Clooney that we're talking about, right? I believe is the name.
Yeah, I mean it was leaked like a while ago, so
Right.
no secret.
So are you aware of what the term was? Specifically what the essay was about?
Yeah, I mean I'm pretty sure everyone is, but it's basically state how all these alliances are honorable and fought well, which I thought was funny. George Clooney did lower that word count to like 500, so there's also that. I don't know. I wasn't
So
exactly for that term, but it is what it is.
are there any, I mean, given that probably we're at the point that these terms are dead in the water, given Singularity is going to be probably able to fully rebuild after this point, and that's going to put the Neo coalition on a complete. You guys are going to get rolled again. Um,
I don't think so.
are you able to share the terms?
Um, I think most of the terms at the moment are private. We do have a Google Doc for them. I'm just waiting on the people we invited to the peace server to join. I was DM'd by Sketchy today and got told what his terms were for us for, which seemed relatively fine. But as
So it's
far as I'm
possible
aware,
that you guys peace out during this conflict and kind of leave it to the majors involved at the moment.
no. Um, I can't speak on other coalition members, but I do know that TCM was actually asked to continue to stay in the war, which is why we did.
Uh, do we can we share by who?
No, but it was a bit of a carrot and a stick situation. So
I see. I see. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So let me cover this here. Initially terms were being offered in an IQ-esque format. Um
I
by
don't
somebody who
personally
was
agree with that sentiment. We invited them to a
so
peace server. They declined to go to the peace server. They chose to conduct it through DMs when being informed of a peace server. And so we just dropped one term at a time because George was busy. And frankly, if they wanted to discuss all the terms at once, there it's literally listed in one channel in the peace server. So if they ever
okay,
chose to join it, they're all right there.
fair enough. Um so let me rephrase it. Through potentially misunderstanding due to activity limitations, Singularity had the impression that terms were being dropped in an IQ format one by one. But in reality, had all the terms were available in the peace server, they chose not to join. Is that accurate? That's a little
All the
more.
terms are still in the peace server. Every single alliance representative from all of our coalition is in that peace server and continuing to wait for them to show up. They opted to not show up. They opted to not see all the terms in one place. That's not exactly our fault.
Interesting. So, just extrapolating, and if Singularity wants to rebut this, if somebody in their coalition has a reason, I'm taking reasons, taking people to come on. We're having this discussion. Yeah, I know that you're limited. I'm sorry. The war with Sale was dragged out because Singularity preferred to conduct it via DM for whatever reason. Maybe there was a miscommunication, maybe there was something else. But because
I
of
was
how they conducted it, there was a miscommunication there that led to the impression of it being IQ term dropping, which it was not. And this
I
dragged
can't
out the war to the current point.
I can't speak for everyone in my coalition, but I do know that TCM was deliberately told to wait for them to contact us by another alliance in the other coalition that isn't us. So like we were just following orders.
You were told by some, can you specify if it was in Sail or Neo?
Uh, it wasn't in Neo, which is ours. So I already
So you
specified
were
that.
told by Sail, somebody in Sail, to wait for Singularity and Co. to reach out to you.
Not Sale in particular, but it is what it is.
Somebody in there, yes, but same difference. Um, okay, peace terms, George, I believe, and Nokia can correct me, um, are not being made public because stuff's still being negotiated internally. There's still a shot for peace for some of the coalition members, although, interestingly enough, TCM has been asked to remain in the conflict. But that's anything I got wrong there on why they're not being made public, kind of because negotiations are still rolling.
I mean, most of the terms aren't set in stone. They're actually deliberately made to be negotiated. So if they join the peace server, like I have no problem dropping half the terms. There's only like two things I want on there.
Well,
But
I'll have you know that didn't exactly go over well when Starfuse and House Stark tried that about what, half a year ago, 8 months
I
ago.
don't know. Each alliance in
We
the
did that in the
coalition
we did that in
gave.
the past. Didn't go over very well.
I mean, we're also not demanding a bill though, so
Yeah, it's fair enough. If they're lighter terms, if they're more meme terms, it's valid.
I don't think
Valini,
most
I'm
of our
gonna
terms are mean. I mean, like the number one term that TCM did that could be considered meme is we asked for 69 coal from two alliances.
but that's almost your signature peace term at this point.
We do it in every
Um
war, so that it would be.
Valini, so again, I wasn't here for IQ and NPO either. I joined right after that stuff ended. I believe, and the veterans and the people more aware than us can confirm, in the past, what used to happen is IQ/NPO would win a war and offer peace, but they would offer peace term by term. So, let's say, you've got two alliances here that are at war. You've got A and B, and A is winning. A has won the war, so they're going to offer terms to B. They don't provide them a list of, for example, we want you to pay reparations of 3 billion. We want to surrender. We want a public apology for XYZ action which triggered this war, and we want these three meme terms. They would offer it as, we want to surrender. Then you have to agree to the surrender before you see anything else. Okay, you agree to surrender. Now we're going to tell you that we want 3 billion in reparations. Until you agree to that, we're not touching any other terms. And yes, it does drag things out, Valini. That was the specific goal. As George says, he's an older player here. That was what was happening in NPOs last time. And so they were probably adding new terms as terms were being agreed to. But yes, it does drag out stuff. Yes, this happened. So then if you finally agree to the $3 billion in reparations, then I tell you I want a public apology. Then you finally agree to that. I start listing the meme terms. But yeah, you don't get informed of the whole list. You get informed one term at a time, and you do not get any additional terms until you agree to the prior one.
In
So
about 10 years of
especially
player
for
experience, no offense, Lysander, but I've been playing PNW since 2014. I've only heard about NPO doing that deliberately once in Global War 14, like George is saying. And I actually used to be in 2019 a much better position as an alliance and got most of my education from Frawley in NPO as well as BK Gov during that time. That was the only war that anyone ever did that in.
but it's become Global War 14 would be NPO's last time, correct? Is that the
Global
war we're
global
referencing?
global Global War 14 is used to be called Dial Up. Now it's called NPO's Last Time. It is the war in 2019 that NPO was trying to kill the game with goons. And
So I think the reason that's become associated with NPO/IQ is because that was the last kind of major war they were around for. It was also a 9-month long war, and so that was enough of a landmark issue in the game's history that it tied all the events in together. It may, and see if Kiwi's
do
right,
you
that Kiwi
know
very well may be. IQ, was that the only war that IQ was around for?
do you know the history of NPO, like as a community and how it relates to politics and war
Vaguely,
alliances?
but not firmly, no.
I can give you like a very brief summary.
Let's go. Go for it.
In Cyber Nations, NPO basically showed up at one point and simultaneously took over the game one by planting a bunch of spies in other people's alliances. And then at some point, PNW came around and NPO was late to the party. And then when they were late to the party, they tried to kind of dominate it like they did in Cyber Nations, and it did not go too well. But the very first thing they did when they joined the game is NPO's first time. You ever look at that war? They got rolled.
I've heard
Like
of
that
it
was the very
before.
first
Yes,
thing that
yeah.
happened. So
The rough start.
NPO's last time is just a reference to NPO's first time, and I don't know. I think they were around for 3 wars, if I remember correctly, not one. There, that's your summary.
Okay. Interesting. But yeah, that's I think the reason that gets associated is because it was such a massive monumental war that it overshadows their other issues. And so it was it was a brief summary, Kiwi. Give the man some space. It was such a monumental landmark in the game's history that it's recency bias too. It was their most recent conflict in terms of like it was the last one they had. You know, if you get rolled at the end of 2023, you're gonna win worst everything because it doesn't matter if you had the most genius moves in FA at the start of the year. What happened at the end of the year is what matters. So I think that's largely why it gets associated. But regardless of who owns it or not, the point is more not about who did it, although it's going to get associated with IQ and NPO because they're also the big bads. And so if you can associate your enemy with the big bads, then congratulations, you're the good guy. Um, but the overall point is that that kind of one-on-one term offering is largely disliked within the community. Um, so thank you, Nokia, for coming on to address the micro aspect here, the Neo Coalition, rather. I appreciate that. If anything else before I bump you back to the audience.
If you have any questions, I could try to answer them. But no, I had a heart problem yesterday, so I'm not too interested in talking, to be honest.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I hope you feel better. Um, We'll see. I think my internet's getting a little spotty here, so if I cut out, I'm sorry. Rest in peace, Lysander. That's going to be the end of the show. In the meantime, we're going to give this a little bit more time, unless I cut out, which is entirely possible. Um, yeah, one by one, as Borg has outlined, it's a power play but delaying tactic because it allows you to continue the war. Um, I've already addressed how I feel this is an interesting move for Odu, given both Rose Sphere and Singularity Sphere are have interest in revenge against them. I mean, for Pete's sake, Rose's CB against Singularity is the fact they allied TKR to hit Rose. You've, I seems to be a pretty good connotation as to they still hold grudges from that war, which they're allowed to. It was a recent war, 2 globals ago. But regardless, it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward with Whelp, with Sale, how numbers even out. Um, it's gonna be tough to pick a winning side here because it's not clean cut. It's not like you have two spheres or two coalitions. You have much more than that. So I think that about covers it. Is there something that I missed that you guys want me to cover? Again, Dark Brotherhood is not involved. We are Borg. Our ROI is killer. Let me tell you. I have to say, I am firmly still very happy that we did not go to full rebuild. Firmly believe we would have been hit. So y'all are allowed to crap on us as much as you wish, but I can assure you that internally we are more than happy to just have done what we did. Um let's see. Yes, massive blitz on TFP. We are gonna solo the entirety of Rose Sphere. Not even ally with the other coalition, just us against Rose Sphere. What else is there, folks? Hearing sheet that Thermonia made is pinned if you guys want to look at it. That's because it's an applicant. Um, the other thing that I have to you're welcome. The other thing that I have to preach is, and I am obligated to this. Many of you came over from WAR show where he brought this up. Um, we have founded a nation states colony from politics and more players into NS. And if you don't necessarily like NS, you may not find it enjoyable. They have taken great offense to the fact that we have started anything over there. There was already an NS player that moved to Politics and More to advertise the game before they deleted after a couple of days. There are already several very agitated regions. So if you are maybe you don't love nation states, you don't love the political role play aspect of it, which we have building in the region. If you do enjoy that, great, we're a place for you. If not, and you simply want to cause chaos in nation states, we're also the region for you. There's an invasion planned for Saturday. The more people we get, the larger the regions we're going to take on. So maybe you don't like the role play, but you like causing chaos in the game. come on over. A great place for you. NPO is alive and well, George. So, Thermonia, you're here, right? Thermonia, go screenshot hashtag treaty, put up in tidbits. Legion just tied Legion of Dawn. So that's a bridge between Sail and Whelp. Go, get a move on. Chop chop, something quick. Man, I tell you, OCN is really slacking. They've been massively behind on these wars. It's amazing, really. I know Thermonia takes an hour. I am gonna start calling him Grandpa Reporter. Give him simple instructions, and dude takes 15 minutes to write up the post. Thermonia, I'm just giving you a hard time. It's fun. The other thing that we're going to go ahead and point out here is following the money. My show is going to be changing into an entertainment oriented show. We're going to be doing sphere drafts. I actually have a tool that'll allow me to draw on the sphere web, not very efficiently, but I can create ODPs, which is what matters, clearly. And so there are also statistics to compare the drafted spheres by, and people can vote on which one is great. We'll be bringing back the Hunger Games. We're going to be doing a lot of entertainment stuff. If any of that sounds interesting to you, but specifically if you're interested in sphere drafting, please send me a DM. I already have somebody who's interested. Beta and Thermonia will likely do a 1v1 to go ahead and duke out their intense rivalry. Just covers up their love affair. But anyways, if you're interested, let me know. We'll get things rolling. But that's the end of my advertising campaign. I highly recommend you DM me and check out Nation States because it's fun. I've had more fun in that over the last week than I have in Politics and War for the last month. But hey, to each their own. Um, Politics and war related questions. What do we have? Is there something? Is there an opinion? You know, I've been very loose-lipped about my opinions tonight, probably to my personal detriment. Is there a question you have? Is there what's going on? What do we have? Something I didn't cover. Let's go. I'll take everything. Thermonia, how long does it take to write a tidbits post? Good God. Opinion on that. I will give you an opinion on that momentarily. I have to go deal with the fact that Thermonia is taking an hour. 1 minute. Let's see. Oh, he took the crappiest screenshot possible. I'm just messing. Good stuff, Thermonia. Good stuff. Alrighty. Um, Aurora's very intrusive. So, all right, I've got a couple of questions. Nokia, if you have a question, drop it. I will get to it. I don't let things get buried. Um, Opinion on bipolar once again from George. It's really funny to me personally. The irony here is wild because we started with bipolarity, semi bipolarity during NPO's last time. It was a it was pretty close to bipolarity as a conflict. So then we moved after that when I joined, and towards the later end of 2020, you had multipolarity. See you, Nokia. So the argument was that, okay, more axes of power is better for politics. And politics were semi interesting because we had Quack, we had Hedge, we had Rose. There was the leaky faucet war. And so honestly, it was pretty interesting. Did they cut the treaty? Motherfucker. Kiwi? I am all right, this is it. New alliance policy or new Ron policy. No more posts about anything the Legion does. Kiwi insists on not posting things on the forums. So we are not, there will be a complete media blackout. Ordering this now, it's on record. Complete media blackout on the Legion. They can get rolled to smithereens or do the rolling, and Ron will not report on it. It's a complete media blackout in effect now. So where was I? Oh, so we went to multipolarity, and then you had like the leaky faucet war where Quack got rolled, and then they rolled Swamp and they disbanded. So the argument was multipolarity, multiple axes of politics. Great. That's better for politics. Then the argument kind of became, let's do mini spheres. That increasingly became the narrative towards the end of Quack. Mini spheres. Let's break everything up into a bunch of smaller little spheres, and that'll be great. We'll have we'll have so much politics. They'll be able to team up and they'll be able to fight each other and all this stuff. And then TKR disbanded Quack and went on to form Hollywood. So they disbanded one hegemonic block and went on to form another one. Yay! So multipolarity returned. Celestial became a thing. And that kind of returned things back to two big power axes. With Clock and briefly Backrooms, although Backrooms was never a main contender. It briefly became more multipolarity, but generally politics was centered around Hollywood Celestial. So I would almost argue we went to bipolarity. It was fairly close. It wasn't full bipolarity, but it became close. Then we've kind of had this recent mess emerge after things shift around again, blah, 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 where we had Whelp and Odu as the main sphere. Dale provided a strong third axis, but because their political ambitions were unknown, things mainly revolved around Whelp and Odu. With the rise before, during, and after this period of the Whelp Odu War, where we had AA centrism and O levels rise, kind of a messier treaty web. The thinking traditionally has been that this is going to expand politics. I've interviewed Valini probably 5 separate times on this topic. Um, the idea is that O levels kind of provide you more options. And Beta is right. I did miss the quote unquote mini spheres era where we had Hog, Ouroboros, Fortuna, Wayward, Midgard with Hell. There was a time where we had a lot of spheres. Then we had a rise in this alliance centrism, and the problem you had very rapidly was that we've ended up now where we are. Nobody was sure who they could hit. nobody knew. People don't. A lot of FA ended up being lazy, and people. Why did Thermonia get timed out? Oh, did he post an invite link? Poor Tard. Yeah, let's untime out him. Yeah. I can post the invite link because I'm special. And so people didn't want to do the effort. They didn't want to put the effort in of seeing who's going to actually defend this nation if we hit them, this alliance. And so you end up with this more stagnant phase of politics where things got quiet briefly and then we exploded back into activity. And ironically, we're now in potentially an area where bipolarity could arise. Now, George, I'm going to make the argument that I don't see it happening with current coalitions, given that Oju, it's entirely possible. I know they've been looking to. It's in, it's possible that Oju has repaired relations, singularity with Rose Sphere, and that is the new that could be one side. But Odu long term on Rose's side, there seems to be a lot of longer bad blood there that I don't see forming a stable alternative to Sail Well. What happens in the coming month, probably however long the nap from this war is, and then moving into after that, the next global war, whatever happens there is going to be very interesting because you run the risk with these current links and everything else of what's going to happen. Are the links going like Grumpy signed M levels with everyone in Rosphere? So if you end up with another war in which you have two spheres going at it, a third, maybe a fourth jumps in, you will see a solid gravitation towards bipolarity because at that point, declaring an offensive war is no longer enough. You need allies to defend you from random people coming in after you. I don't see it happening, George, not right now, but bipolarity is possible. Random asks, how do I think the spheres will shake up after this? Honestly, I'm surprised. I think we've seen the sphere shakeups happen during the war. TFP is now Rose Sphere. Um, I mean, that's really it. If there's I don't know that anyone has incentive to shift after this. You would think Odu has incentive to downsize given their relative size compared to everybody else, but that group of alliances has generally not cared about being larger than other spheres. I think you'll see a few O's will shift random. I think you'll see KT will probably cut Grumpy. It's possible that Eclipse and Singularity sever their tie. Um, you might see Aurora Camelot O change. Um, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and pure conjecture based off of what Nokia said. I'm gonna guess that the carrot stick with TCM staying in the war involves either potential sphere membership or potential ties to a main sphere member. So it's possible you see the micro coalition kind of shift around, but other than that, I don't see, Whelp, Thale, Rosesphere, Odu splitting up to form another sphere. It's possible, but it doesn't seem likely given the current composition of both of them. So, or of all of them, rather. I think your biggest shakeup here is going to be some people will be cutting O's, like maybe Legion will cut their O with TFP or vice versa now that TFP has a home, things like that. But I think your biggest thing was seeing TFP join Sphere. We'll see. It's entirely possible there's a bigger shift that happened.
Out on
Alrea, you've been invited to speak since you have your hand raised.
Good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Right. Hello, Grant. I understand you're all enthusiastic to hear about our blitz of TS and the book buddies, right?
To be honest, you are incredibly soft speaking for me. I have turned up my volume to a
Can you hear
billion.
me? Hello.
What? Repeat that? Yes.
I understand that you grunts are all incredibly enthusiastic about hearing our blitz of TS and their fellow grunts. Is that
Sure.
correct?
Go for it.
So, I think our coalition's CB, right, can be linked back to this post on the forums. If you look at this post, which we posted in general now, and Balkans now, this
It
is
is
our
there, yes.
very valid CV, right? I feel like as a result of the CB, all of the buddies of TS and their fellows should be surrendering immediately. Would you agree, Lysander?
Do I feel that based off your CB, everyone that's not Aurora should immediately surrender?
Yes. Hold on, wait. My vodka's... I spilled my vodka. Give me a second, yeah?
Gotta save the vodka, man. The
I
important
spilled my
part
vodka.
here.
Give me a second.
Let's see. No,
Right,
I don't think I agree.
why not then, Lysander?
There's a lot of this is how CBs work, unfortunately. It's how TFP was blitzed, is they were blitzed for being part of prior dogpile stuff, like the Fortuna War.
Yeah.
Rose
I remember.
Sphere's CB is entirely on. Well, I suppose it could be argued it's against all of Sale. Although,
Our
somebody
CB
confirm
revolves
for
around
me,
Aurora.
is
No
Rose
one's...
has to be at war with KT though, right? Yeah, because that's how Whelp joined in.
So
So
I
KT
can't
was
speak for a Rosesphere point of view because I'm not Rosesphere. I'm Grumpy, right? And
right.
in regards to Odo, our CB is primarily revolved around Aurora's illegitimate CB, as can be seen in Balkans now. This was a bullshit CB, and we were not happy about this at all, right? And we've had some time to take it easy, and now we're gonna be coming back for that. I feel like that is fair.
A year and a quarter later?
Well, yeah, as in, if you're gonna fight, you fight when you are gonna win, right? You of all people would understand that you would try and rig a fight in that which you would win. Is that not fair?
It's an interesting perspective, I'll give you that. I
Well,
would
I feel
argue that
like
you've had an opportunity, you have had the opportunity for a while.
you could say
But
that for any
now
single
is a
alliance
convenient
in the
time.
entire game after a war, right? As in, sure, TKR could have split them any day for the last year and a half, right? As in, that's what you're saying, though, right? You're basically
Here,
saying that
argue it with Khan.
you're basically saying that,
Khan, you've
like,
been invited
okay,
to
they can do
speak.
it any day, but
I
the
mean,
only
okay. Let's start off by going back to Instant Karma War. Technically, Odor did launch on Aurora, and back then, I was part of Midgard at that point.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
remember.
not really sure about what do you mean by you got your CB back like a year ago? You guys did launch on Aurora in Instant Karma. Odor did. You technically got your revenge. So are you saying you're trying to get revenge again?
No, no, but that was linked to another war. As in
Well,
the way I see
yeah, of
this,
course
right?
it is. You
This
guys
is a
both
this
launched on
is a
the
direct
same
response to your poor
to
CV.
that one. Oh,
The way I
okay.
see it, right?
Wow.
This
Okay,
is
well,
the
I haven't
the
seen a response
direct
to you against
response
TI and
to your
everything, you
poor
know, when
CV.
we attacked you. Also, CTO isn't even in your sphere anymore. Why do you care?
They're around us now, aren't they?
Wow, cheers.
Well, it's like saying as in we like our allies now, don't we? Right? This is the case now. If your only response is that, oh yeah, the CV's illegitimate, do you know how retarded that sounds?
Well, no. If you gonna pull something like that, I'm gonna pull like 2 years ago shit and try to launch a war on you, and then that's justifiable now?
Try.
You say, oh yeah.
You can try.
Oh, okay.
As in,
See, now
it's
you're
kind of like,
talking so big because you've got the big coalition. When you don't have it, then you're not talking like that.
well, it's kind of ironic considering like you have been the backbone of every hegemony since fucking whatever Eclipse
Whoa.
was.
I have not been in any hegemony. You are talking to a different person right here. I have not joined a single hegemony. I was in Clock. Me, Harry, and Tyrion made the conscious decision to make multisphere. I have not joined a hegemony.
Well, that's on you, isn't it? As in, speaking
That's
from an
on
Aurora point of
me.
view,
You
speaking
made the
from an
hegemony.
Aurora
You were
point of view,
TKR. You made a hegemony
ever
right after you
since.
split up from TS.
Okay. Let's talk
So
from an
don't blame
Aurora
me
point
for
of
making
view.
a hegemony and then
Let's.
talking big.
You done? Can I talk?
Oh, yeah, go on.
Okay. So let's look at Aurora from sort of pre-merge voodoo point of view, right? You guys
Okay.
ate voodoo, a rose to your ally, then
Mhm.
immediately declared on a rose ally. How do you think that looks to the rest of us?
What? We ate voodoo and declared on. What? Hold on. Hold on. Where are we talking about this? When did we declare on Rose right after we ate voodoo?
A rose ally. Okay, hold on. Let me
Ally?
pull up the
Rose ally?
let me pull up the wiki right now. Let me pull up the wiki right now because I'm
Oh,
not
yeah,
sober
yeah.
enough. I'm not sober enough to think.
Well, I'm
Give me a
also very
second.
confused as to where this happened. You
Let
just
me
said something
let
I
me
don't
pull up the
remember.
wiki. Hold on.
Oh,
Bro,
yeah. Let's
I'm
go
not.
to it.
Listen, allow it. I'm not sober enough to think right now. Okay.
That's
I've
fine.
had
That's fine. No worries.
I've had a bottle of whiskey and half bottle of vodka. Okay. Just
I-
allow it. Okay. Just give me some time. Give me some time. Give me
No
some
worries.
time.
No
Okay.
worries. No worries. No worries.
Alright,
No worries.
allow it.
I'll give you time. Yeah, you got time.
Okay. Allow
The
it.
funniest line so far has been, "You've been informing hegemonies." No, I haven't, but that's a bad move. Funniest line of the night so far.
I mean, dude, I don't remember myself forming any hegemony. I won't lie, because I'm fully against it. You know, like I've been against it from day one, ever since Quack. Like I got kicked from Quack because of the Syndicate. Okay, and I still hate Partisan to this day, and it's been 3 fucking years. So if anyone has a grudge, I have. Let's be honest here. But in saying this, like if I like hegemonies, that's a whole different thing, you know.
Yeah, you and I both know you're a big fan of hegemonies, bro.
I'm not a big fan. You know, honestly. Also for roasting, like after eating.
You're a chief hegemon, bro.
Me? What? How am I chief hegemon, bro? What is going on here? What's going on here? What's going on? God, you gotta pull this hegemony thing, yeah, bro. Also, back to
right,
your point.
given-
After eating voodoo, we tried to join Rose. You know that, right? It was only because TCW and like Raw's Way said no, and then we got forced back into clock.
I'm not gonna lie. If you get cooked by Ross Way, that's on you, bro.
Well, okay, no. The whole time was they were complaining to Rose how Rose told them not to expand.
Out of anyone you get cooked by, it's Ross Way.
Well,
like,
it's
bro,
not, no.
you got lucky in there.
Well, I don't know.
Out
You
of
gotta talk to
anyone
Harry,
possible,
bro.
out
It
of
was
anyone
insane.
possible you get cooked by, right? Oh yeah, Ross Way from Rose Fear. Do you know how dumb that sounds?
First of all, I didn't say I got cucked by Rose. Like, it was technically Rose because Rose then gave up on trying to talking to us. You can ask Harry in this.
all right.
We had a conversation.
All right. Hold on here, folks. It's beginning to look like a tavern brawl. If you want to have a tavern brawl, there's a voice channel. There's an open VC titled "Watch Me Lose Politics and War." You can blame Krampus for that. Y'all are more than welcome to have a drunk face-off in that VC.
Well,
But I
no.
want
We're
something of
having a great
consistency
conversation.
here.
We're just having a great
I
conversation.
gotta wrap this
Yeah.
up for poor Zig's sake, okay? Is there anything of substance that we're gonna cover here, or are we good to wrap things up?
Well, let's talk about your involvement in Last War, shall we? Against Eclipse?
Against Eclipse?
Yeah, as in like June. I don't remember. I was in China, right? I managed that with TFI.
Wait.
as in-
Aurora never fought Eclipse.
Yeah, you did.
Huh?
Are you schizo? Hello?
When did I fight Eclipse? What?
Are you schizo? I feel like you're schizo,
When
bro.
did Aurora fight Eclipse?
Okay, you know what? I'm not being gaslit here. I'm gonna go find the fucking wiki thing.
No,
alright?
you're
And
making me
gonna-
spaz out now. I don't
You're
remember this
Wait,
You're
happening.
wait.
bro.
What?
You're spazzing out, bro. Fuck off.
I've
You're-
never fought Eclipse.
You're schizo, bro.
I won't lie. I think you've had a bit too much.
Nah,
never fought
fuck
Eclipse.
you, bro.
I'm telling you
You're
right now. I'm telling you right now.
gaslighting me.
I'm not
You're
gaslighting
gaslighting me. You are gaslighting me. You are gaslighting me.
Oh.
Sorry, it wasn't Eclipse. It was Rosefield, wasn't it? In June. What was it in June? What was the big global in June? What was it called?
Okay, so what I think you're talking about, and it's getting garbled by the vodka and the whiskey, is when Odu signed the syndicate and attacked Florida, which was Rose and
Yes.
Singularity,
That's
and
it,
then
that's it, yeah,
Carthago
that's it.
and Aurora also joined in to
Yeah.
attack Rose, Singularity, and the rest of Florida.
So let's talk about your involvement in hegemony, shall we, Cam?
Eclipse, good
Black,
God.
bro?
Let's talk about your involvement in hegemony, shall we?
Wait.
You have
Hold on.
historically, right? Aurora has never shown above the idea of hegemony, right? You jump in, you're an opportunist above all. You jump in when you can, you win when you can, and then when you get caught lacking, you lose. That's the way I see it, right? So I think out of anyone who can claim the moral high ground, it's not you.
Wait. Islander, can you tell me which war that is? It's the Rick's last roll or the...
No. Hold on. I don't even know if the community gave it a name. Hold on. Let's just search Duck Hunt, and then I'm gonna search too. I don't know what the community vote. All it is that I know it as is Global War 28. What was the
28? That's 2 wars ago.
Dodge this.
Uh-huh. Hold on a second.
That's what the war was called.
Okay. That's 2 wars ago.
Well, you see, I've not exactly been involved in politics and war for a while. The last thing I've been involved in was that.
Oh,
massive
okay.
blitz.
I'm very sorry. That's not my
Um,
time anymore.
I-
I'm not
I
actually in
was-
Aurora anymore.
I spent 3 months shagging my girlfriend, right? I know most of you virgins don't understand that. Basically, it's like when a guy and a girl have a relationship, right? We sort of
All right, we're done here, Mr.
exclude
Drunkman. We're done here.
ourselves from boxing war.
God.
Um,
Alrighty, you're both getting thrown back to the shadow realm. Thank you. We're done. That's it. I'm cutting this off now. Um, alrighty. So nothing of value was determined. We let a drunk man talk for way too long. Is there anything of value that I need to go over? Or are we done here? No, we're not doing. There'll be a drunk show later. It's not today. It's next week. No, Frank. Thank you though. Nothing too interesting. No, I'm not giving a drunk man image perms. He's gonna get muted for spamming by the Autobot. That sucks for him. Context what? What am we context? Thank you, G. I'm so happy that the audience knows what this is. All right, fine. We'll give him Yi for 5 seconds. This is allowed. The fact that the Automod did not moderate him yet is annoying. If it is, there will be you will watch that man get banned faster than you've ever seen in your life, Flywolf. Gotta refresh already. I am hovering on ban. Don't worry. We are ready to go. Ready to rock and roll. All right. Anything else before we that's the image, Nokia? Oh, no. Okay, young man. Yeah, let's go ahead and deal with that. All right. I think we're done. Anything else? It's been a hell of a thing. We went a little bit over, but to Zig's surprise, we did not go 4 hours over. Is that it? Are we done? I think we're done here. See, oh, I can do it through my phone. One second. You all can enjoy. Let's see. I'll pull up the theme. In the meantime, because I haven't spoken about this enough and I have an urgent need to annoy Thermonia, join nation states. It's a fun, fantastic game. We have many good friends. We are pissing off all the right people in nation. Yeah, there goes the Automod. He's been timed out. Pissing off all the right people in nation states. So let's keep doing that. Keep winning. Keep being base politics and war players by pissing off other Nat Sims. And that's it for tonight. I've got the theme rolled up. If you can't hear it, then somebody can say something, and that's going to suck for all of you. Alrighty. And here, I guess we go.